Hello everyone. In this lecture, I want to talk about how a computer system works. Then I want to introduce some emerging technologies such as cloud computing and cognitive informatics to you. I want to show you how these new technologies are changing the nursing informatics landscape. We use computer system to process data. The information will be sent from the input devices to the main memory first. Sometimes a main memory is called a random access memory or RAM. The function of a main memory is to temporarily hold the data, and then the main memory will check the availability of another component in a computer. It's called a central processing unit or CPU. If the CPU is available, then the main memory will send the information to the CPU for processing. A CPU consists of two parts. The first part is called Arithmetic Logic Unit, or ALU. ALU does all the number comparison, math calculation, text and graphical processing for the user. The ALU component makes CPU very important in a computer system. Some people call CPU is the brain of a computer system. The second part in a CPU is called a control unit. The function of control unit is to send the data processing result back to the main memory, and then main memory will send the result to the output devices such as the screen or the hard drive. We have been talking about main memory for a lot of times. Why do we need a main memory between the users and the CPU? The reason is very simple. Every CPU has the speed and calculation limit. If we let the user give a large number of data to the CPU directly, the CPU probably cannot process the data at the same time. That's why we need a buffer between the users and the CPU, and the buffer is the main memory. Using main memory, we can make a computer system responsive to the user's request. In addition, the main memory will give a CPU a break when the CPU almost reaches its speed or calculation limit. Therefore, when you want to buy a computer system, besides looking at the calculation speed of a CPU, you also need to consider the size of a main memory. There is no standard rule which size of a main memory is the best, but 8 GB or 16 GB main memory is a decent size. Let's talk about LAN and WAN. LAN represents local area network. WAN represents wide area network. How can we classify a network as a LAN or a WAN? It depends on the coverage of the network. LAN usually covers 1 mile or 2 miles. WAN usually covers the whole internet. Typical example of LAN is the Wi-Fi network for home use or small business use. Typical example of WAN is the internet. We have billions of LANs in the world. How can we keep all these LAN connected with the internet? All the network has to follow certain agreements, and we call these agreements protocols. Only the network that follows these protocols can be connected with the internet. Frequently used protocols include the TCP/IP protocol, SMTP protocol, and the FTP protocol. TCP/IP represent Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol. When you want to access to the internet, you have to get a unique IP address first. And the TCP/IP protocol is used for the user to get a unique IP address. SMTP represents Short Message Transfer Protocol. They are used to deliver the short messages, such as emails, over the internet. FTP represents File Transfer Protocol. They are used for the users to upload files to the websites. All of these protocols are just like the traffic regulations or traffic rules for the internet. Only the drivers who follow these rules can drive their vehicles smoothly and safely on the internet. In order to protect the information security, we developed something called a Virtual Private Network or VPN technology. By using VPN, before we send the information out, we can create a temporary private point-to-point channel over the internet. When you send the information over the VPN channel, the plain text, such as English or any text that human being can read, will be transferred to some secret message, and then the VPN will deliver the secret message to the person who you want to send to. When the secret message arrives, it will be transferred back to plain text that human users can read. By doing so, all the information will be protected during the delivery process. Otherwise, the plain text will be exposed over the internet. Anyone, including the hackers, can stop the message and read the message. But by using the VPN technology, even the hackers stopped your message during the delivery process. They can only get the secret message, but they cannot understand the meaning of the secret message. Let's talk about cloud computing. In a cloud computing system, a user can use a variety of devices such as smartphones, laptop, desktop to process data. But none of the information is stored on the local device. All of the information are stored in the cloud. Why do we want to design a cloud computing system? Several benefits. First of all, I can share information among devices in a cloud computing system. A very good example is iCloud from Apple. If I take a picture by using an iPhone, next time when I use a Mac, once I log in iCloud, I'm able to see the picture from the cloud. Another benefit is if a user lost his or her phone, as long as the user has the iCloud username and password, when the user gets a new iPhone, the user access to the iCloud account by using the username and password. The user will be able to retrieve data from the lost phone. These are the benefits of using a cloud computing system. What does cloud computing mean to nursing informatics? There are many typical examples. First of all, we can give a smartwatch to a high blood pressure patient, and then the smartwatch will retrieve the blood pressure from the patient to the cloud. Nurses can monitor the patient performance in the cloud. If a nurse observes that the patient blood pressure is in a dangerous zone, the nurse can call the patient, or if the patient doesn't answer the phone, the nurse can immediately send an ambulance to the patient's home. Another example is when a EMT provides urgent care to a patient. The EMT can send the patient condition through a smartphone to the cloud. Doctors and nurses can get prepared before the ambulance arrives in the clinic. At eCollege, I also listed a video showing everyone how other emerging technologies like cloud computing are changing the nursing landscape. Please take a look at that video and get to know this new information. Next, I want to talk about cognitive informatics. First, let's talk about cognitive science. Cognitive science is a subject that is interested in how knowledge is acquired and processed in the human mind. In a lecture a few weeks ago, I said a nurse should be able to perform appropriate procedures when a patient is in need. Those appropriate procedures like urgency care are the focus of nursing science. But in cognitive science, we are interested in how the nurse observes the patient's medical conditions. When the nurse receives all of these observations, how the nurse's mindset organizes this observed data so that the nurse can make a decision the patient is in need. Why do we want to learn this? Why do we want to know how knowledge is acquired, observed, and processed? Because we want to teach computer systems to think like a human being. A very good application of cognitive science is artificial intelligence. In the future, I will also use a short term, AI, to represent the concept of artificial intelligence. We have got several AI applications in use already. For example, Siri from Apple, Alexa from Amazon, and so on. But I don't want everyone to narrow your view of AI to those mobile applications only. Actually, we have several applications for big data analytics as well. At eCollege, I listed one of the systems called IBM Watson Analytics to you. Please take a look at the tutorial of IBM Watson Analytics and get to know how AI is used in data analytics.